Okay, I think we are live. First of all, let me test out the audio. Let me know if the audio is working well, if you guys can hear me properly. So 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, the mic wasn't working that well. I finally found out the problem with the mic because of the audio extension. Let me just zoom in on my face so that it's sort of sharp. Alright, is the audio right? Can you guys hear me? And is the zoom okay? I think the zoom is right. Is the audio, are you guys hearing the audio? I think that's the most important thing when it comes to recording videos. Actually, audio is more important compared to the video quality. So yep, looks like it's okay. I hope my live stream is not going to lag today. I hope my connection is good enough. So, hey everyone. I see quite a lot of people coming in. As usual for this Q&A session, if you want to have your questions answered, just append your question with a uppercase QN so that I can identify those questions very quickly. Great. Okay. Before I start, you may notice that the thumbnail that I used for the screenshot was actually a photo of my baby girl, Tiffany. She is 7 months old today. I wanted her to appear in this video, but unfortunately, she is still sleeping. That's a photo that I took about 5 minutes ago, so she is sleeping. I'm not sure if she's going to wake up later on. Maybe if she wakes up in half an hour, I'll go and check on her in half an hour's time. If she's up, then maybe I'll have her appear, but if she's not up, then I'll probably let her sleep on. So sorry about that. Yeah, she's sleeping very soundly. You don't want to disturb her beauty sleep. She's cute when she's sleeping, but she's not cute when you wake her up from her sleep. Okay, today's Q&A session, you can just ask me anything regarding art or the things that I do. I've also answered some questions that I have found that I've been asked on my Instagram page as well as on my YouTube page. Some of these questions, they are posted on individual videos, so you may not see those questions unless you watch those videos. Okay, I'm glad the audio quality is great. Hey everyone, Shirley Ho, Sharon Avalos from Texas, from California, Patricia. Okay, let's see. I'll answer some of the questions from you guys first. If there are no questions, then I'll jump to the questions that I found online. Okay, Kindle Parsons, will you ever make a book? Publishing a book is a very long and tedious process, so I always admire those artists and authors who publish their books. But personally for me, I don't think I will ever publish a book because it takes a lot of time. I have friends who publish books, you know, the Urban Sketches collection, volume 1 and 2. Those books, they took a lot of effort to produce, and I don't think I have the time and the effort to put into creating those books, even though I have a lot of sketches. But compiling, scanning all the artworks, writing captions for them really takes a lot of work. So probably the answer is no. I'm not going to be putting out a book. What do you like to draw? I like to draw, because my YouTube channel is based on urban sketching, I like to draw outdoors. I like to draw scenery, landscapes, places that I visit. A long time ago, I went to Manhattan for a holiday. Back then, that was before I started sketching, so I took a lot of photographs during the trip. But right now, I cannot remember anything much from that trip other than to say that yes, I have visited the Statue of Liberty, I've been to the Met Museum, I've been to Park Avenue, Central Park, but the specific things that I did on those days, I cannot remember. So with urban sketching, now that I know how to sketch, I would go to places, I would sketch. I can remember the scene exactly, not just the scene that I sketched, but scenes that are outside of the sketch, so I can remember details of what happened that day. And that is why I like to sketch urban setting, like sketching outdoors. Is the red boy from Singapore, is the reverb natural? I think it's because of the directional mic that I'm using. And this room, I think there might be some echo. Is the audio a distraction? Or maybe I should switch to the other mic. Let me know if the audio is still okay, if the echo is too much. Do you use an articulated arm when you draw on camera? If so, which brand do you prefer? This question is by Zenica204. I actually do not use a articulated arm. I just use those normal tripod arms. Something like this. This is, by the way, a mini tripod, sort of like a table stand tripod. So this is the sort of tripod that I would use, but in real life I use a much bigger tripod because this is too short. So the one that I use is much taller, so that I can place the camera on top of the tripod like this and point it down to the sketch that I am drawing. So I'm right-handed, so I have to place the camera on the other side so that I can capture. So the camera will be pointing at an angle. It's not going to be straight down. If you want the camera to be pointing straight down, the main equipment that you need will be a horizontal tripod arm. And I'm going to have a video published soon about the horizontal tripod arm, because I bought one very recently and it was not that expensive, but it was made in China, but it works. Anyway, I don't really use the horizontal tripod arm because it's a bit cumbersome to set up. I mean, with a tripod like this, you just pull down the leg, put it on the floor, and you can just point the camera. It's very straightforward. With the articulated arm or horizontal tripod arm, you need to do a lot of adjustments. So I find it a bit cumbersome. Oops, sorry about that. My phone dropped onto the floor. It's a bit cumbersome. Does my wife sketch? My wife doesn't sketch. She does legal work, so she's sort of like more office based, and she doesn't follow me to sketching because the weather here in Singapore is very humid, very hot. She is more of a home type of lady. Next question by Judith F. When do you have time to do so much your work and videos and sketching, and also time with your family? This is Judith from Florida. Hi. So you may notice that I have a lot of content published every day. So for my YouTube channel, I publish about 4, 5 or 6 videos a week. And for my blog, I publish a book review about at the same consistency. So that is actually a lot of work. The reason why I have so much time to do all this work is I don't do anything else. I don't spend time on social media, so that saves me a lot of time. I don't watch TV, that saves me a lot of time as well. And I work at night. I work a night shift from 4 to 5 p.m. on to midnight, after midnight. So during the daytime, I will wake up around 9 a.m. in the morning, and then I'll work until 3 p.m. So I have like 6 hours of solid time to work. Sometimes if I'm not feeling the mood to work, I will just not work and just relax for a while. And that's the beauty about such an online thing. When you feel like working, you work. When you don't feel like working, you can just take a break and work tomorrow. So most of the work that I do are actually is sort of by the way thing. For example, sometimes when I join my friends for cafe sketching, or yesterday I went for a sketch walk with my friends from Marine Sketches Singapore. So since I'm at the event, or since I'm already sketching, since I'm already making art at home, I just switch on the camera and basically start recording. So I don't really sometimes I do make time specially to record video, but sometimes I would do all these things by the way. It's like, since I'm already creating art, why not I just put a camera beside and record it? And this is something that I would recommend to you guys as well. If you are drawing, It doesn't mean that you have to record. When you're drawing, you already have that sketch or that artwork that is completed. Just spend that extra a few seconds to scan it in and upload it online to share it. Even if you do not want to share it, you should still upload it online. Maybe keep it private, but have this just keep it online so that you can view it later on in the future. And I think that would make a very good record. Next question by Pop Trigger. Which do you like best, traditional or digital media? I like traditional media more because I find it more satisfying to use traditional tools, because there's something about drawing with traditional tools and watching the strokes, the marks come out on the paper. I think that's very satisfying. For example, when you're drawing with pen and ink, you can see the ink line, the wet ink lines, they glister, they shine, they reflect the light, and you can watch them dry. Personally, I find that sort of tactile feel very satisfying. So when you're painting with watercolor, you can see the watercolor, the colors, they blend very softly, merge into one another. This is something that you will not be able to get with digital media. But digital media, they have their own advantage. For example, you can undo a lot of times. It's very convenient. If you're drawing on a tablet, you can draw, and if you need to go, you just need to save it and close your tablet and you can just go. But with traditional medium, usually there is more setup time, especially if you are using those heavier applications like watercolor. You need to set up the palette, provide the water. If you are painting with oil, again, even more setup time. With color pencils, not that much, but sometimes traditional media, they do need more setup time. Okay, if there's anything wrong with the audio, just let me know. You can do a shout out in uppercase letters because audio is very important. There is a slight lag. Yep. I think my streaming connection is not that fast. Next question by Mel L. Can you talk a little bit about sketching people in public? Any funny stories or tips for sketching etiquette? I think sketching people in public depends on the country that you're in. I think in some countries, strangers may not like you to sketch them. In Singapore, it's not too much of an issue, but of course, when you are, let's say if you are a member of public and somebody is sketching you, obviously you will feel a bit suspicious, like what is that person doing? Why is that person holding a book and drawing and keep glancing up to you like this? So the trick to not getting that attention is not to have too much movement. Don't move your head up and down like this. If I'm sketching in public, I would just glance my eye, just look up at the person, and sometimes I would look at the person and then look to the side, like I am looking around, not paying attention to the person. I actually have a full video on this topic on how to sketch in public, how to sketch on public trains. You can do a search on my YouTube channel. You can find all the little tips and tricks on this sketching in public thing. But the main thing is this: don't have too much movement and they won't notice you. And of course, if you see them and they feel sort of uncomfortable, well, you can stop. You can just jump to the next person to draw. And usually, people who are using their phones, they are the best subjects to draw. They won't notice you drawing. So yeah. Try to draw people who are doing something else, who are engrossed in some activities, so that you can draw them easily. Of course, if they feel uncomfortable, maybe you can stop and just draw something else. Next question by Pop Trigger. What do you hope to see in the next iPad Pro? So based on the rumors, the new iPad Pro is going to be announced like 2 days later. I'm very excited because I use the iPad Pro quite a lot for drawing, although not as lot compared to using traditional media, but still I am quite excited because being able to draw on such a large canvas is really quite an experience. Before the iPad Pro, there was the normal size iPad, and which was around half the size. The drawing surface area of the 9.7-inch iPad is just half the size of the iPad Pro. So it's like drawing on an A5 sketchbook, but you cannot open up the A5 sketchbook. With the iPad Pro, now you have double the size. It feels like drawing on an A4 sheet of paper, so it's definitely more comfortable. You can draw larger, you can draw more details, you do not need to zoom in and out. This current generation, the responsiveness, the accuracy is really very good. So I'm not sure what Apple can improve on it, because right now this iPad Pro, it's a very capable device. So any new feature that they put out on the next iPad Pro is going to be a bonus, but I don't think that it's going to really significantly improve the drawing experience, because right now it's already very good and it's going to be pretty expensive. Anyway, when the new iPad Pro comes out, I will be getting it to review. I'll be selling this away. Next question is by Lunar Star Studio. I have a question about phrasing. Would you say that visual development is art or design? I need to pick a descriptor for a custom minor proposal I'm writing for an art school. Visual development, I think it's more design. It's more design because you have to sort of design the scene, design the characters, design the layout of how the scenes are going to flow. But you need art. You need to be able to draw to execute the design. So I think it's more like design. Although the distinction really is not that it's not that different. I mean, art and design, sometimes they are used interchangeably, and it's not really a big deal. So you can use anything, but more on design. What do you do for work when you are not doing art? This question is by Zanika204. I heard you do some graphic design for a company in Singapore. Yeah, I actually work for a newspaper here in Singapore, so I do all the art related stuff. Anything that is not photo, I would do. For example, designing those little blurbs, doing a table, those. It's a very boring table. Financial tables, for example, with lines and charts, bar graphs, all those things. And sometimes infographics, like for example, if an accident happened, you have to sort of recreate the sequence, or there is this new shopping mall that comes up. Maybe I would be asked to model the shopping mall to show the different features of the new shopping mall in 3D. So those are the visual things that I do for the newspaper. And because I work, sorry, not that. The newspaper comes out in the morning, so I have to work at night because every day is a deadline. I have to finish the work before the deadline, which happens around 1 a.m. past midnight. So that's when the newspaper has to go to print, and that's when all the people who are working at the company would leave for home. So I work night shift like many of my colleagues at the newspaper company here in Singapore. Next question, we have Tra Min Tuan. Do you prefer ebook or hard copies for art books? I found that moving hard copy books is a burden, but I'm not sure if the usability is the same for ebooks. Hello from Jurong West. Oh, okay. Depending on the type of ebooks, I guess. For books that have a lot of text, so for instructional books that have a lot of text, I would prefer ebooks because sometimes it's easier to read ebooks using the iPad. But for art books that has a lot of pictures, a lot of visuals, personally I prefer hard copies because you want to enjoy the art, you want to quickly refer to it, and that's one advantage of physical books. You can refer to them very quickly. So I refer to some instructional books that I have occasionally. I will just take out the book and just flip to whatever page that I need to. But if it's an ebook, I will need to find a file, I will need to scroll through the pages, and sometimes I can do a keyword search. But comparing ebooks with traditional books, I find it faster to refer to traditional books. But if you are lacking in space, then ebooks is the way to go because you can save a lot of space. So if you don't have a lot of books, you can save a lot of space. If you have a lot of books, then you are going to need a big bookshelf, and that is going to take up a lot of space. I think I hear something. Maybe the baby is awake. I'll go up and check later on. I have to make sure that she is really awake before I bring her in, so that I don't disturb her. Next question by Judith F. Have you been to United States or Europe? I have been to United States, Manhattan. I've been to San Diego for the San Diego Comic Con. I have been to, what's the other place? Las Vegas. I think these are the 3 places that I've been to in United States. And in Europe, I have been to UK. That was during the Urban Sketches Symposium, which happened in Manchester in 2016. I've made a series of videos for that symposium, so do a search on my YouTube channel. Those are some of my favorite videos. Travelog videos are some of my favorite videos to make because it's really fun to travel, to sketch, and to do all these things with your friends. So those are really some of my favorite videos. So that's Manchester. I've been to Barcelona. That's Spain, Madrid, and I think that's all for Europe. So it's just Manchester and Spain. Hopefully I get to go to more countries in the future. By the way, next year the Urban Sketches Symposium is going to be happening in Holland, so I'm not sure whether I'm going there yet. Hello, Rio D from Maryland, Graham Swan from Sydney, Roberta Schoolman from California, and drawing from A and B, also from California, Cherry Patson from Oregon. Yeah, sometimes it's such an amazing thing that we have this YouTube platform right now, and people can watch videos from all over the world, and you can connect people of different interests, similar interests, and this is so amazing. And some of the viewers who watch my videos, I have met them in real life. Like yesterday I was at the sketch walk. I met someone, who's that? Bettina, yeah, Bettina Wong. I hope I got your surname correct, Bettina. She watched my video and she was here from Vienna. She came down from Vienna, reached Singapore at 6 a.m. in the morning and rushed to the sketch walk that happened at 9:30 a.m. So that is dedication for sketching. Next question by Tamara Hulaton. What's your favorite pen for sketching? My favorite pen is actually the Pelikan M200. You may have seen it. Let me see if it's here. It's actually here. So this is the Pelikan M200 fountain pen. It's a fountain pen with a large ink reservoir. I like this because it can hold a lot of ink, so I don't have to refill it much, and I like fountain pens that are transparent. It looks really cool. But for fountain pens, as long as they are using the same nib, like a fine nib, for example, a $5 fountain pen versus a $500 fountain pen, with the same nib, they are going to perform the same. So it really comes down to individual preference. I like the Pelikan M200 because it looks cool and it can hold a lot of ink. Let me drink some water. Next question by Kindle Parsons from Canada. Wants to know my favorite 5 colors to use in urban sketching. Let's see. French ultramarine, Hansa yellow medium. As for the red, I'm not actually too sure. The current red that I'm using is quinacridone red, but that's because it has been in my palette for a very long time and I wasn't able to use it up. I use it a lot, but I haven't been able to use it up. but it's not sort of my favorite. I would probably go with a warm red like Pyro Scarlet. So I need a green as well. Green would be sap green. Sap green is a very beautiful green that you can just use straight from the tube to paint grass. You can paint trees. In fact, let me show you a sketch that I painted yesterday with sap green. So those are 4 colors already, and the last color would be burnt sienna, because with burnt sienna you can mix it with ultramarine to get a very beautiful gray, and you can mix gray very quickly with French ultramarine and burnt sienna. That's why I always like to use burnt sienna. So this is the sketch that I drew and painted yesterday. And this green here, this is sap green, so it's a very convenient green. I'll just use it to paint all the green areas, and for the darker areas, or if I need variation in the greens, I would just add ultramarine into the wash when it's still wet, and the ultramarine will sort of blend to create the variation. And if I need the green to be a bit darker, I would add burnt sienna onto ultramarine onto sap green, and this would give you sort of like the shadow areas for the green. I think this combination works pretty well. So with Pyro Scarlet and Hansa Yellow Medium, you can get a warm orange. This limited palette is not that good for mixing purples, because ultramarine, if you want to mix a vibrant purple with ultramarine, you will need a cool red. So with 5 colors, if you do not have a cool red, then you are not going to be getting a vibrant purple. So those would be my 5 colors: Hansa Yellow, French Ultramarine, Pyro Scarlet, Sap Green, and Burnt Sienna. Alright, next question, let's take a look from Graham Swen. Could you tell me a little about your training? All this art stuff is actually all self-taught. So I learned drawing from reading books. As a kid, I loved to draw comics, so I would just copy those comic characters. But as I progressed from that, I learned those watercolor techniques, those drawing basic techniques from books, and those books, they helped me a lot. So it's mainly self-taught, and then I would go out sketching with my friends, then I learn from my friends. I also learn from watching YouTube videos. So I did not study art, so all these things I have to learn on my own. And that's one good thing about art, is you can learn it on your own. You don't need to go to art school. I'm talking about art as in hobby type of art. If you want to do like commercial art, graphic design, fine art painting, then it may be better to go to art school, because they teach you a structured course, and you're learning from professionals, so you can learn faster, you can learn all the industry techniques. But if you just want to pick up art as a hobby, and yeah, as a hobby, you can just pick it up. Just go to your library, borrow an art book, and just read, learn the techniques, practice, go out and draw with your friends. It's not that difficult. The more you draw, the better you get, and if you can learn from more accomplished artists, then you can learn even faster. So anyone can draw. And the thing about anyone can draw is, oftentimes when I am drawing in public, I think someone asked this question earlier. When I am drawing in public, I would get the most frequent question that I get from the public is, I wish I could draw like you. Oh, I wish I could draw. Is that a question? No, it's not a question, it's a statement. Anyway, people in the public, when they look at a sketch, they always wish that they can draw. Actually, they can. They just need to pick up the very basic skills. Drawing is like writing alphabets. You need to know the techniques. After you know the techniques, you can draw. So you can learn drawing in a day. But how good you get really depends on how much practice you put in. And that is actually one of the reasons why I have this YouTube channel, because I want to teach people, beginners who don't know how to draw, to draw. So I share some of the tips that I have learned over the years. I just try and share it with you guys. I find it fun, because many of the problems that I have as a beginner when drawing, I'm sure there are a lot of other people who have the same problems. Hello, Lady Augie. I cannot pronounce the name. Next question by Real D. How do you feel about urban sketching with a tablet, Surface Pro, iPad Pro? Well, this question is quite similar to the earlier. I prefer drawing with traditional media because I like the tactile feeling. I don't actually draw outdoors too much with the iPad Pro. But I don't think there is anything wrong drawing with a tablet because just use the tool that you are comfortable with. You don't have to worry about what other people say about you. It's like drawing on the iPad doesn't look natural, all those things. It doesn't really matter as long as you are comfortable with the media, with the tablet that you use. Okay, by the way, is the video streaming lagging, or I'm not sure if the video streaming is lagging because the YouTube page is telling me that I have bad video settings. Let me jump to the next question by Edward Wedler from Nova Scotia, Canada. Oh, okay. What one tip would you give to build a strong sketch out group? Wow. Strong sketch out group. I think it's the most important thing really is to have fun. Like when you go to such urban sketcher groups, it's the main thing really is to have fun because there are other people around, strangers around. You want to make everyone feel comfortable to be in the group. So sometimes you can be a bit friendly, just talk to people. Even if you don't know them, you find it difficult to start a conversation with them. The easiest way is to ask what pen are they using, what sketchbook are they using, what colors are they using. So that I think is the best icebreaker. Ask about their equipment, or where did you buy this, and then ask their name, where they are from, and then you start to make friends one by one. And to build a vibrant group really is to have fun. So when it's fun to go out, when you have friends who you like, you will want to go sketching with your friends every other week, and that is what's happening with me. So it's fun to go sketching with my friends. That's why I try as much as possible whenever I have free time, I would go out sketching with my friends, such as for cafe sketching. So even though I may have a video or series of videos that I'm recording on a specific day, if my friends ask me out for cafe sketching, I would definitely go out to sketch with them because it's fun. Yeah, okay, let's see. Next question by Judith F. Again, if you were in the US or Europe, how do you find the sketching culture there? I haven't heard of any sketchwalk events here in the USA and Europe. I left a long time ago. Well, urban sketching is becoming more and more popular, and if you look at the Urban Sketchers webpage, which is urbansketchers.org, on the sidebar, they have a long list of countries that have urban sketcher groups, and within those countries, sometimes there are a lot of cities, and different cities have different groups as well. So I'm pretty sure you can sort of find a group that you can join. Some of those groups, they may not organize events regularly, but the thing is you can organize your own events. So if you join that group, if you feel like sketching at this place, you can just organize the event on Facebook and see if anybody will join you. But because maybe you are new, nobody knows you exist, nobody can see the Facebook post, that's when sharing your own work online really helps. You can have a web page, a blog, maybe your Instagram page, or maybe even your Facebook page. So whenever you draw, you just post your scan or post a photo of your sketch online, and put the caption. This was drawn at, let's say this was drawn in Singapore at Chinatown. So this would put your work out there on the internet, and people who are doing searches, doing Chinatown sketches, doing like a search for Singapore sketches, they may come across your sketch because they are looking for things that are in their country or in their region, and they may chance upon your sketch and they may be interested to join you. So that is, I think, how the group, yes, the baby is up. So let me bring the baby in. I know you guys want to see the baby. So let me just go out for a few minutes. Yes, the baby is up. Hi, Tiffany. Say hello. She doesn't know how to say hello yet, but this few months she has made a lot of progress. As you can see, she is much bigger now, very heavy. When she was born, she was 2.6 kg. Now she is 8.6 kg. She is looking at my computer screen. Yes, she just had a half an hour nap. Very heavy. She used to be very easy to carry because she's light, but now she's very heavy. So I hope she doesn't make too much noise. So I'm going to continue to answer your questions while I hang out with Tiffany. Tiffany is my little girl, 7 months old today. She cannot stand yet, but she can flip over and flip back. She can sit, but you have to help her to sit. Okay, stand properly. Okay, let me answer more questions. So, yeah. Hello, Kelly Wilson from California. Yes, I went to Bath in UK. I really enjoyed my trip in UK. Fantastic experience. There are so many things to draw when you are sketching overseas. She's engrossed at the emoji icons that you guys are sending over. Let me find a better way to carry her. Alright, I think maybe I'll let her sit like this. Okay, next question by The Foolish Dreamer. How long have you been drawing and painting? Well, I've been drawing and painting since, well, for urban sketching, I started in 2008 or 2009, so that's like almost 10 years ago, but before that it was more like casual sketching, so nothing too serious. But even right now I don't think I'm doing anything serious, it's just, well, sketching. I like all the videos, but my whole family likes your travel videos. Travel videos are very fun because when you're traveling you have that heightened sense of awareness. I think I smell something. Yeah, I think I smell something, but it's probably urine. Anyway, when you are traveling, you have that heightened sense of awareness where you are aware of everything that is happening to you. So this adrenaline rush, or is it adrenaline? I'm not too sure. Anyway, when you become aware of your of your surrounding, you can remember it much better, and that gives you a very memorable experience. And so personally for me, those trips I enjoy a lot, and I think every time when I watch those travel videos, I get to relive the experience, and I wish that the experience that I had is sort of passed on through the videos to you guys. Next question. Let's see. Oh wow! Now the comment sections are jumping very fast because the baby just appeared. She is a morning girl, by the way. She wakes up at 7 a.m. She sleeps early around 12, and she would wake up at 7 a.m. in the morning. And just now she took a 1.5 hour nap. 1.5 hour nap after her milk. Not very comfortable, huh? Are you very comfortable? Let's see. Okay, comment sections are jumping very fast because of those smiley face emoji icons. Not much urban sketching in the UK. I would say do a search on the Urban Sketchers group page, Facebook group page, or the urbansketchers.org blog page, and see if there are urban sketcher groups in your city. I'm sure there's one in London, Liverpool maybe. Yes, she is so much bigger and she's quite tall now. I love teaching watercolor to my 12-year-old girl. Yeah, you can start teaching your kids drawing. Drawing is a very fun activity, so you can just give them a pencil, crayon, and just let them have fun. It's an activity. I think with kids, they like hands-on stuff, they like activities. So if you give them a book and let them read, they would have to sit there and look through the books. Not may not be enjoyable unless the kid loves to read, but if you give them something to play with, like a pencil, a piece of paper, they can start drawing, I'm sure they will enjoy it. Where is your next sketch trip? Alright, the next sketch trip that I have, I haven't planned yet, but most likely I will be going to Hanoi because Hanoi is very near. The Asia Link Sketchwalk will be happening in Hanoi next year in October, if I remember correctly. So I will definitely be going to Hanoi because I've been to Hanoi before in Vietnam, and it's a very nice place for sketching. Let's see what other questions. How do you train your eye for urban sketching? Betty Gray. When it comes to urban sketching, when it comes to getting a likeness, like when you look at your own sketch, does it resemble something that you draw? The most important thing is to get the proportion right. So if you can get the proportion right, if you can get the angles right, if you can connect the lines properly, then you will get a sketch that is very recognizable to something that you are looking at. So proportion is the most important thing. So after her sleep, she is very active. Sometimes she likes to jump like this, but today she's not as active, maybe because she's quite groggy or she's distracted by the computer screen. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Are you still sketching and watercoloring, Tiffany, or she doesn't know how to pick up a pencil yet? She doesn't know how to draw yet, but I'm definitely going to teach her how to draw because it's a fun activity. You want to say something, Tiffany? How do you this is an extension of the question by Betty Gray. How not to include so much detail but enough detail to make it recognizable? When you are drawing, if you want to simplify, think of it this way: if you can draw with as few lines as possible, what are the lines that you would put down? So those are the most important lines. For example, let's say you want to draw a baby, for example. Let me use her as an example. If you want to draw a baby with as few lines as possible, you would draw the head, you would draw the eyes out because you don't want to draw the full eyes with the eyelids and the eyeball. You can just put a single dot there for the eyes. So that is how you simplify it. Drawing with as few lines as possible. Just lay down the most important lines. Any tips for drawing infants? I'm actually not that good at drawing kids. Because baby features, kid features, they are very soft. Try not to use hard lines. I think color pencil works well. Lines that are soft, don't use ink because ink is hard. Pencil would be better. The next question by Joanne JPEG. She likes to do that sometimes. Other than Procreate, are there other apps that you would recommend for drawing on the iPad? The other app that I use a lot is Medibank Paint Pro because it has a lot of drawing features that are quite similar to Photoshop. So it has layers, it has a lot of brushes, it has undo obviously, but most of the features they are actually created for drawing purposes. So Medibank Paint Pro is the app that I would recommend if you do not want to use Procreate. And Medibank Paint Pro is free, runs on iPad, on Windows, on Android. And when you save the file, you can continue to work on it on your computer. What's that on her arm? Yeah, Tiffany has some, I'm not sure the exact name of the condition. Anyway, it's some blood vessels that did not form properly under the arm, so she has to go for some laser treatment. It's much lighter now after a few sessions of treatment, but you can still see that I think it's probably going to fade off in the future. It's not painful or itchy or anything, so that's good. So hopefully it will fade off soon. Nothing too serious. Hey, Tiffany, you should be looking at the camera, not at the computer screen. My age, this question is by Kelly R. Wilson. I am 37 years old today. Yeah, 37 years old. I was born in 1981. I shall let her sit down. It's easier for her to sit down. She's getting a bit too heavy to carry. How do you deal with art block? Quite a good question. If I have an art block, maybe try looking at other artists, looking at the art of other artists, and copy their style. Not like really copy their style, but learn from them. Copy how they draw, copy the way they use their techniques, but copy from many different artists and then see what inspires you, and you can sort of recreate your own style and hopefully get out from the art block. I think I should carry her like this. Yeah. Yeah. How do you use complementary colors to do color shading on watercolor sketches? Is there a guide or is it from experience? Another good question. So when you look at the color wheel, complementary colors are colors that are across each other on the color wheel. If you want to use complementary color, it's actually sort of like a color scheme. You have to pre-plan your sketch in advance. For example, if you have green in your scene, then you would need to plan where you should put the red and things like that. Personally, I don't really go for the color schemes and things like that. When you use a limited color palette, you will have color harmony in your scene, but of course using a color scheme will sort of really push your painting to the next level. So it really comes down to experience. And of course, look at how other artists use their colors and learn from them. So you can learn from your own experience, which is going to take some time, or you can learn from artists who are very good at using colors. And if you can just learn maybe 5% from those artists, then you would have learned a lot more than you can from your own experience. How would you introduce art to Tiffany? Finger painting, maybe just a very thick pencil. I think pencil should be quite safe. Pencils, not crayons. Crayons, I think they will get onto the hand, and I mean they like to, lick their own fingers. So crayon probably not that safe. But thick pencil, something that is thick so that babies or toddlers, they can hold a thick pencil with their chubby hands. Now I understand why some pencils are so thick. Okay. Yeah, Tiffany is talking. Usually when she wakes up at 7 a.m. in the morning, she would start to make noise to entertain herself. Aru, this is not a question, but I wanted to thank you for taking your time to explain to us clearly your points of views and techniques. Thank you. How many unfinished sketchbooks do you have, like buying a new one instead of working on all the pages? Oh wow, that's a very good question. I have blank sketchbooks, but currently I have only 2 unfinished sketchbooks. One is this one, which has 2 or 3 spreads to go. Yeah, and there's the other one, the Hanamule sketchbook, which has maybe about 10 spreads to go. So just 2 unfinished sketchbooks. As for blank sketchbooks, I have a lot that I haven't started. I try not to start on a new sketchbook until I have finished the previous one, because when you start with too many sketchbooks with a lot of blank pages, I feel that it sort of gets a bit demoralizing. Like, when are you able to fill up those sketchbooks? And every time someone watches my how to choose a sketchbook video, they would inadvertently ask about this sketchbook, which is a very thick sketchbook. This is not a watercolor sketchbook. This is a sketchbook with very smooth paper, good for pen and ink. This is probably impossible to find online. I bought it at a local bookstore. This is called Note on a Book, Concertina. No other mention of the company or manufacturer or where you can buy it. I would not recommend you buy such a thick sketchbook, because it's very difficult to fill up unless you are someone who has discipline, who can draw every single day. If not, if you use such a thick sketchbook, it's going to be a bit demoralizing, because you know that you're not going to fill up that book for the next 2 or 3 years. No kidding. Okay, question by Thorough Odi. The question is, I'm interested in going to the Amsterdam Symposium. Do I have to join a USK somewhere to attend, or can I just buy a ticket when sign up opens? Yeah, you can just buy a ticket when the registration opens, but you have to do it fast, because sometimes the workshop passes, they get sold out very quickly. So every time when they announce that the registration is going to open on this so and so date, you have to mark down on your calendar the exact timing when that registration would open, and then go there and book your tickets. You do not have to be a member of Urban Sketchers to join that. It's open to the public. And it's open to the public because they want to get more people to come to the symposium to learn from the instructors. So yeah, you don't really need to be a member. Anyone can join. Okay. Getting quite heavy to carry. Sometimes I need to use the baby sling, Okay, thanks for the tip, James Button. Try to use thick barrel broad tip Crayola markers, safe and non-toxic. I didn't know about that. I do know that Crayola, they make a lot of crayons or markers, so that's good to know. Thanks. How much art do you produce in a week? Question by Kaya Kaya E. Wow, this I think I maybe just draw one sketch a week, not much because I have too much work to do. Sometimes when I create my sketching videos for my patrons, I would do additional sketches, but I think the number of sketching videos, the tutorials, the sketching videos that you see on my YouTube channel, that would be the frequency that I create those sketches, which is not a lot. I wish I could draw more often, but sometimes it's really very busy to draw so much. Hello, Tiffany and Her Daddy by April Maria. Hello. Next question by Emily VBR. Do you have any tips to help beat perfectionism when drawing or painting? This is perfectionism. Well, perfectionism is, I'm not sure what is perfectionism. At least for me, when it comes to sketching, there is no perfectionism. You are always learning. Don't worry too much about perfectionism, but worry more about enjoying the process of drawing. Because if you stress out too much about perfectionism, it doesn't. I mean, sometimes you do want to be technical, but sometimes you don't need to be that technical, that perfect. So just really enjoy your drawing process. Next question by Deb Smith. I wanted to know if you are still drawing your daughter. Yes, I'm still drawing her, but not as often as her first month. Maybe I should get to drawing her again because she grows very fast. If I were to draw like every day, at least I won't be able to see the differences, but if I draw her like every month, you can see how fast she grows, how she changes. You can also draw I can also draw the things that she uses, her clothes, the size of clothes. There are a lot of things to draw. Someone says you are trying to answer the questions, but you cannot talk yet. What time of the day do you enjoy drawing the most? This question is veracity. Best time is actually in the morning, early in the morning when it's still cool, and late in the evening when it's not that hot. Here in Singapore, definitely in the morning because it's less humid in the morning. And when it gets very hot, it gets very tiring and it's mentally exhausting to be drawing out in the heat. Yeah. Next question by James Barton. I know you have been into mixed media. It's good to see you using color pencils. I hope to see you do more mixed media pieces. Yes. Now I'm trying to experiment with more mixed media pieces because I think it's more exciting to use more media. And I see some artists, some urban sketchers who use mixed media, and the effects, they are really beautiful. Something that you cannot achieve if you are just using pen, ink, and watercolor. Something that you cannot achieve if you are just using a single media. So for example, if you want to add more texture to your sketch, you use pencil, you are not going to be able to get those very textured strokes with watercolor, with pen and ink. That's why mixed media is more fun, in my opinion. Oh, there's a little bug there. Tiffany is 7 months old. What's the best way to choose colors? Thank you for the amazing videos. This question is by Michelle McCracken. Best way to choose colors, there's not really a specific way to choose colors. My main tip for you would be to pick a limited palette and stick to that limited palette. Do not use too many colors. When you use a limited color palette, like just three colors, three primary colors, those colors will work together to give you color harmony. For example, let's say you are painting a yellow truck using the three limited color palette, a yellow truck, and you want to paint the shadow side of the yellow truck. So if you have too many colors, you may think too much, oh, what color should I use to mix the shadow side of the yellow? But actually, if you are just using three colors, there is no other option for you. You just mix the shadow area with red and blue and yellow. Yeah, it's that simple. That's why using a limited color palette really helps. And after you are more comfortable with mixing with a limited color palette, you can explore other colors later on. Okay, I think mommy is up, so I'm going to put it outside and mommy is going to take care of you. So she's going to wave goodbye and she's going to leave the room. Alright, I'll continue to answer some questions. Alright, bye bye. Bye bye, say. She doesn't know how to say bye bye. Anyway, I'm going to bring her out because mom is up. I'm back. Okay, let me drink some water first. It's quite fun when you have kids. They are very energetic. They really add life to your life. And the other fun thing about kids is they are unexpected. You never expect them to do something, and sometimes it can be quite humorous, the things they do. Okay, let me try and answer a few more questions until my battery runs down on the camera. Oh, speaking about cameras, there was a question on my YouTube channel that asked how do I film those selfies, how do I film myself. I actually have this tripod. This is a Velbon Ultra Maxi Mini 2 tripod. It's a tabletop tripod. So this is the tripod that I use when I go outdoors for filming. I will place my camera on top here like this, secure it properly, and I would just hold it out like this to face me. So that's how I film those shots that are with me in the scene. I could hold the camera like this, but it's not as comfortable, and I can only hold it with my left hand because the grip is on this side. So having this tripod, I can hold it with my left and right hand, but this is a bit heavy, so I cannot hold this for extended period of time. But very useful, but a bit short. So sometimes when I bring this out for my filming, I am not able to film myself sketching because this tripod, it doesn't go high up. If I want to film my sketches, I need to bring a taller tripod so that I can go high up and point down to my sketchbook. Yeah, I forgot what I was doing earlier. Oh, this question by Veracity. Are there any color schemes that you tend to shy away from using in your works? I don't think I use any color schemes or I shy away from any color schemes, but I do find that there are colors that I will use more often. So I've been using the same colors pretty often. And that's one reason why I want to make those limited color palette videos, because when you experiment with more color options, you can find your favorite color mixtures and you can continue using them. But so far, the colors that I use are pretty, I've been using them for a few years, so maybe I need to switch things up a bit, but I don't really shy away from using other colors or color schemes. Actually, you learn more if you were to try different colors and color schemes. Sometimes you may not know what colors or color schemes you like until you try them. Mel L, great idea to draw all her gear and favorite toys. Yep, I need to draw her toys and her gear as well, because she has very beautiful toys. Those are soft toys, Tiffany's soft toys, and there are a lot of them. And yep, you're right, you will never regret any little memory you record. That is very true with kids because they grow up so fast. Kindle Parsons, yes, hello. Let's see what questions. Next question is by Rahid Alpha. I kind of get this vibe that sketching with reference cannot be called urban sketching. Is that accurate? Well, that is accurate. If you look at if you go by the rules, the manifesto on the Urban Sketchers website, urban sketching has to be done on location. So, I mean, the main drawing itself can be done on location. If you are adding colors later on, you can add it from a reference photo. I don't think that is too much of a problem, but the main drawing itself has to be drawn on location, and that is the main thing about drawing on location, that's the main thing about urban sketching. You have to draw on location, because drawing with a reference photo is not the same feeling as drawing on location. For example, yesterday at a sketchbook here in Singapore, I met Bettina, who is another urban sketcher. I wanted to film her, and she will appear in the next sketchbook video, by the way. I wanted to film her, and she said that she was hot and sweaty, her hair is messy, she doesn't want to appear in the video. And that, I think, is the true spirit of urban sketching, because you are sketching outdoors, you are under the elements, you're hot and you're sweaty, and all those things, all those uncomfortable situations, all those fun moments are actually what makes the experience memorable. If you're just sketching from a photograph from home, or sketching from a photograph in a cafe, you are not going to get those experience, and that experience separates urban sketching from sketching from a reference photograph. And also, when you sketch from a reference photo, you're not going to be able to remember much of the thing that you draw. But when you're sketching on location, you're spending half an hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours on location sketching. You can remember so much things. You can remember the sun coming down on you, the people who talk to you, your friends who are beside you sketching. All this is what makes urban sketching so fun. So yeah, if you can, try to sketch on location. You can use a reference photo when required, such as when the weather is bad or the lighting condition changes. Then you can use a reference photo to do some touch up, to add some colors, but try to draw the main thing on location, because that's what urban sketching is all about. Next question by Eileen W. What are some tips to paint the perfect watercolor nature piece, and what's a good beginner watercolor palette? I'm not that good at painting nature. I think the main thing with nature is composition is very important, of course. Color usage is also important. Here in Singapore, we don't have a lot of nature. We just have concrete buildings, so I really cannot speak much. But basic painting techniques will still apply, like composition, color values, and contrast. If you want to learn more about landscape sketching, landscape painting, I would refer you to the YouTube channel by Mind of Watercolor. He has a lot of wonderful tutorials there on painting nature, painting trees, foliage, landscape, water, all the nature stuff. Great YouTube channel, great resource, by the way. What's a beginner watercolor palette that I would recommend? Well, too many actually. So I will have to refer you to my blog or do a search for beginner watercolor sets on my YouTube channel or on my blog puckablogs.com. I have a lot of recommendations there. I also give you the list of pros and cons for each beginner set. Let's see, Susan B with another question. What would you suggest is the best way to learn urban sketching? What's the best book to learn urban sketching? The best book for urban sketching is actually not a book on urban sketching. It's this book that I always recommend. It's called Keys to Drawing by Bert Dodson, Bertdodson. You can find this book on Amazon or on Book Depository. I have a review on my blog as well. Keys to Drawing is a book that teaches basic drawing fundamentals, drawing with pen and ink, and once you go through those lessons, you can start to draw. You can just start to draw. It's not that difficult. You can start to draw within a week, I guarantee you, if you follow that book. I also have some drawing tutorials that I'm selling on my Gumroad page. Those also cover basic drawing techniques. So you can check out my Gumroad courses. Website is gumroad.com/parkablogs. PARKABLOGS. Link will be in the video description below. So some people, they learn better from books. Some people, they need to see the step-by-step instructions from videos. So depending on your learning style, there are many options for you. Even on YouTube, there are so many tutorials. Hi Yasmin S. Thank you for your comments. All your comments are very lengthy, but I read through every single one of them, even though I don't respond to all of them. Yeah, I learned a lot from your comments, by the way. There are a lot of information that I do not know of, but when I read the comments, not just by her, but by other people, I learn a lot. So for example, sometimes when I make a video, I have some mistakes, like the recent video on the 7 items for sketches. I drop in those metal bits into the ink bottle, and I forgot to mention about those metal bits being they must not be able to rust. They must not rust. So I have to take down the videos because of your comments. If not, I wouldn't have noticed or remembered that. So sometimes it's great for you guys to post comments to correct some of the mistakes that I make. Because sometimes when I make YouTube videos like this, they go out, they are watched by thousands of people. If I say something wrong, then the wrong information will be spread out. So that is not good, obviously. So sometimes I do have to take down the video and re-upload it again. The other video that I have re-uploaded was the video on cleaning watercolor brushes. So with watercolor brushes, you should dry them on the side like this, or dry them like this. After they are dry, you can just put them upright like this, because water may collect here inside this metal part here. So if you dry them like this, the water is not going to dry as fast as like this, when the water can just flow down, or when you dry it like this on the side. So I had to take down the video, remake a new video and upload it again, and that is great, so that I don't spread wrong information. Yes, if you have missed the earlier part, Tiffany appeared a few minutes ago. So you have to watch the replay of this live stream. This live stream will be uploaded again later on after it ends. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Let's see. Solid Snake 6660990. Are there any concept art or entertainment design schools in Singapore? The only art schools that I know of are LaSalle, College of the Arts. There is art school in NTU, the Nanyang Technology School, but I think that school deals more with design. There is Fengzhu School of Art. Fengzhu is a concept art artist, I think. His students produce excellent work. It's like concept art, like video game type of concept art. Fengzhu School of Art, you can do a search for that. Spelling is Feng ZHU, yeah. So those are the only design schools that I know of, or concept art schools. Okay, let's see what other questions. Do you ever get tired of sketching? Question by Emily VBR. Not really, because there sketching is like a very rewarding activity mentally. It's very satisfying. It's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle, and there are so many pieces that you have to examine, you have to put together, and when you finally put together that jigsaw puzzle, you have that tremendous sense of satisfaction. Painting is something like that, but even more, because now you are dealing with so many different types of colors. You have so many ingredients that you can use, so many tools, brushes, different techniques. You have different types of paper, pencil, pen and ink that you can choose from. So all these different elements, it's like a puzzle that you have to piece together yourself. And once you've done that, you have your painting, you have your sketch that you are satisfied with, and that sense of satisfaction, I don't think you can get it anywhere else. And that is one reason why painters, they don't really retire. They would just paint until they cannot paint anymore. Yeah, it's unlike those people with salary jobs, engineers, accountants, lawyers. There will come an age where they will retire, because sometimes it's mentally exhausting. After a while, you just don't want to work. But for art, I don't know of any artists, and I've been in the urban sketches group, so there are many artists who are much older than me and they paint for a living. I don't know of any artists who retired from painting. So that's why you will never get tired of sketching. It's very fulfilling and it's very satisfying. And the other satisfaction that comes from sketching is when you have a whole sketchbook that is filled with sketches. When you look back, that sense of accomplishment, again, you will not get that sense of accomplishment anywhere else. And also, for example, this is a sketch that I drew with my friends at a cafe. So this was me drawing with them, and this experience drawing with them, you cannot recreate that experience elsewhere. You have to go out and draw with your friends, and when you look back at your sketch like this, it brings back the memories again. It really makes it more fulfilling to sketch, and that's why I think why people sketch. Sometimes when my friends go for urban sketching, sketch walks, events, they just go there to mingle with friends. Not so much to draw, although they draw, but it's more like a very social event. They just want to meet up with friends. Next question by Tran Min Tuan. How would you react when other people approach you? So I saw you yesterday at the sketch walk. Wanted to say hi, but you look extremely focused on your sketch and I don't want to disturb. Oh, okay. Yeah, I. Hello, but okay. To approach people when they are drawing is you can use the tip that I mentioned earlier. Just say hello. What pen are you using? What sketchbook are you using? What paper are you using? What colors are you using? Talk about the materials. That is, I think, that is the easiest way to break the ice. And then on, you can talk about other things. So next time, you can try this tip. Sometimes I use that tip as well. So when I see sketches that I do not know of, I will just talk about the tools, say hello. Yeah, I'm sort of like an introvert type of guy. Maybe introvert, definitely not extrovert, more introvert. So sometimes I have difficulty talking with people as well. And it seems I'm doing the YouTube thing, filming people. Sometimes it does get the introvert nature of me, it does get into the way. So I need to use some of those techniques as well. Next question by Yasmin S. One of the difficulty on location is to face the dimension of buildings and people moving there, and then or truck stopping in front of what I draw. Would like some tips. Okay, when it comes to dimension, like for example, if you're drawing a building, it's a very tall building, and there under that tall building there are shorter buildings. There are a lot of people, cars, whatever, trees, foliage. When it comes to dimension, if you want to fit everything into your page, onto your page, draw the largest element first. So let's say you have a tall building. See if you can include that tall building, the whole of the building, into your page. And what happens when you include that building into your page? Let's say the building is this tall, all right? And other elements in your page, other buildings are this tall. So if you're going to draw that tall building and still fit in those shorter buildings, then your sketch, let's say the building is this tall, my 2 times is this tall, and other buildings are only this tall, this tall. So if you're going to draw that sketch like this with the tall building, then you're going to have a lot of white space left. So in this case, you have to sort of plan in advance, like first step is draw the biggest element in your scene first. So if the tall building can fit in your scene and other elements can fit in your scene, then you should draw it. But if the tall building cannot fit in your scene, just let the tall building go out of the page and don't draw it. Don't draw that part. Just focus more on the specific area. But my main tip is this: draw the largest element first. Once you have the largest element on your page, you will be able to fit the smaller elements because, well, they are smaller. And once you fit the smaller elements, it's from then on, it's just comparing each element to another element that you have on your scene. So if you draw a tall building, you get that to fit onto your page. Then when you're drawing the small building, you just base the dimension, the proportion of the small building based on the large building. Like, is it a quarter height or compared to the tall building? Is it half the height? And once you have the small building, you want to draw the car that's parked in front of the building. Is the car 1/3 of the height of the building? Or is the person standing in front of the car taller than the car itself, or half the height of the ground floor? So you just compare each element by each element. Actually, it's a bit difficult for me to explain it like this, but that's it. Just draw the main, in short, draw the largest element first. Okay, this question by Eileen W. Is there anywhere in Singapore that sells portable watercolor sheets and as in the palettes that you swatch from paper books? Portable watercolor sheets, you can buy them from art shops, I think. Like, do you mean like watercolor pads or individual sheets? In Singapore, if you want to buy individual watercolor paper, you can go to Straits Arts, STRAITS. So this is a shop that is located around the Bugis area. You can do a search on Google Maps and they will show up there, Straits Art. So they sell watercolor pads as well as individual watercolor paper. But most of the watercolor paper that I use are actually those block type of paper. Let me just show you. Depending on where you are, the prices of such watercolor pads, they are going to vary, and the quality, of course, will depend on the brand, the type of paper that you get. But these are the type of watercolor paper that I use. It's not like, I mean, you can tear them off as individual sheets, but they are all glued at the top here. So this is a very typical watercolor pad that I use. I use this for most of my YouTube tutorials because they are very affordable, and for the style of my sketching, which is very quick pen and ink sketch, I don't do a lot of wet on wet, so this sort of paper is suitable. But if I were to do wet on wet techniques, then this non 100% cotton paper, the cellulose paper, doesn't work that well, so I have to use a bit more expensive paper. Ethereal OD, your palette has changed over a bit over the past few years, I noticed while watching your videos. Can you show us your current palette and name the colors in it briefly? Which ones do you use most? Actually, I started out with Daniel Smith watercolor paint, 10 colors. Now I'm using 12 colors. Most of the colors are still the same actually. So anyway, I'll make a dedicated video for that as well. So watch out for that video because it's a bit too, I mean, some of the videos it's best to show rather than to talk about them, especially when it comes to colors. So I'll make a dedicated video for that. Also, which color is your favorite? Even if you do not use it as often as other colors. Favorite ones, French ultramarine, transparent pyro orange, burnt sienna, Hansa yellow medium. For reds, I'm not too sure about reds. I just use whatever there is on the whatever reds there are on my palette. Another blue that I like is cerulean blue. It's a very beautiful sky blue that always works great when you use it straight from the tube. As for other colors, I don't really mind what colors I use as long as it's a color on my palette. I just use whatever there is on the palette. I don't think too much really. Some colors may not mix well with certain colors, but you learn along the way. Okay, last question. Is this the last question? Have you used Archer's watercolor paper before and how was it? Archer's watercolor paper, I have used it. It's very good. I think it's one of the best watercolor paper out there. They have hot press, cold press, and rough. I've used cold press and hot press. I really enjoyed the hot press. It's so different from painting with cold press. Cold press Arches paper, they have a fine grain texture to it, and the paper itself is a bit dry, so you have to use a bit more water. But with hot press, it's like painting on hot press paper is like doing a fine detailed illustration. When you draw with pencil, the pencil line comes out so smooth. It's a very different feeling. Anyway, in short, Arches watercolor paper, very high quality. If you have the budget, if you are comfortable with your watercolor techniques and you have the budget, you can try Arches watercolor paper. It's very good. The other brand that is very good is Fabriano Artistico. I think some viewers told me that Fabriano has made some changes to how they make the paper, so some artists are avoiding Fabriano Artistico, but I've not tested the new batch of paper from Fabriano yet. But based on my experience with the old batch of Fabriano, very high quality paper as well. I think it's comparable with Arches, but I need to confirm that. I need to buy some new Fabriano paper to test. Okay, so thank you all for watching. I think let's see how many viewers there are right now. There are 101 of you watching this video. So thank you all for joining me at this live stream. So I'm going to end this live stream very quickly because my camera battery is running down very quickly. Another question. Meanwhile, I'll still try and answer as many questions as possible. Do you have any issues that hot press paper don't dry very quickly? Paper drying, I mean the speed at which paper can dry depends on many factors, the climate, humidity, and of course the sizing of the paper. So for example, sizing is basically how they treat the paper to handle watercolor. So if you are looking at just normal cartridge paper, normal writing paper, when you paint water onto those normal paper, the water will soak through the paper because that paper has no sizing to handle watercolor. And because the paper is going to soak through the paper is going to have a lot of water and it's going to take much longer to dry. But for watercolor paper that has sizing, you can paint on top of the paper. The water will not go through the paper. It's not going to wet the paper that much. It's going to dry faster. Some paper that has a little less sizing, that means the water can soak through the paper, those paper will dry a bit longer, will take a bit longer to dry. So you really have to test out the different paper to see which type of paper you like. With paper that don't dry as fast, you can work with wet on wet techniques for a longer period of time. But for paper that dry very fast, once you pin down the strokes and the stroke will give you the hard edge line, it's almost impossible to do wet on wet techniques later on. Okay, yeah, so I guess that's the last question from Yasmin. Thank you for asking, and thank you everyone for joining me in today's live streaming session. If you want to catch Tiffany, she appears somewhere in the middle of that video. Yeah. Okay, we still have one last question. Let me just answer this. Tin Tan question: is Prang watercolor a good watercolor? Prang is I wouldn't say it's a beginner. It's like the watercolor made for people who want to just paint for fun. So I don't think it's that good for beginners. So just anyway, do a search on beginner watercolor sets on my blog. I have several recommendations of good quality watercolor paper that are also affordable for beginners. Okay, so that's all for today's video. If you need any more information, you can check out those links in the video description below. I have links to my blog, my Instagram page, my online courses on Gumroad, and if you want to support me and help me create all these videos that you are watching, you can support me on Patreon as well. All those links, all the resources, they are in the video description below. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video, the next live stream. Bye. How should I turn this off?